How do you set up a quick deploy tarp? Let me show you how I do it. All right, this is JB with Going Wild. A lot of people talking right now about a quick deploy ridge line. Figure I'll show a quick deploy tarp with independent corners. This is a 10 by 10 square top. I think it actually measures a little under that, 9 by some odd inches by 9 by some odd inches. So I've already got the guidelines, the cords tied on. And so I've got it rolled up for quick deploy, meaning it's already tied on. And I'll show, see the cords already tied on there, right there. You can see they're already tied. Right now I'm going to find center of the tarp. That's my ridge line right here. I'm going to get that corner. You can see how they're tied on. Just take the angle. Let me retie this. My bow line is tied on with a bow line. Rabbit jumps out of the hole, runs around the tree, goes back in the hole. You can see my, there we go, nice and snug. See my quick deploy here. Let me get a little closer. You can see, I'll show how I wrap this. But you're just pulling this line and it comes loose. So I'm going to tighten that, tie it up to tree A. Round turn 2.5 inches roughly. Might have to readjust that just to get the tarp centered for the camera here. And I'm going to take my, follow my seam. Got my outside seam. This is a snug pack tarp. One of the lighter weight ones that I have. I like it a lot. Waterproof. Got my center seam. Get my quick deploy. Pull it loose. And depending on the weather, I'll put it about shoulder height for good weather like this. If it's lower, you can set it lower for bad weather. And we'll come over here and adjust so I can center the tarp. Under, over, and through. Under, over, through. With a quick release. Kind of a guess as far as tarp angle. You can wrap around as many times as you want. Under, over, through. Under, over, through. Nice. Take my angle closest. Take my quick deploy, find the end there, pull it loose. Put a figure 8 on a bite. Take my tent stake, put it inside the loop. Figure 8 creates a fixed loop that does not slip. Stick it in the ground. Let me do the other side real quick. Pull the quick release. Figure 8 loop. You can see these knots on my knot library. Apologize for all the knot videos in a row, but wanted to create a library on the channel. Point in the direction the arrow's pointing. The stake in at like 45 degrees. You can see this is my Howard Johnson Hojo setup. that I like so much. And that's pretty quick. The advantages, some advantages of having a tarp like this. Like I said, in inclement weather, you can set it lower. There's lots of space under here. But if you have bad weather, wind change direction, say it's blowing from here, this direction, you can take this and drop this side. Tighten the corners, and it gives you what people nowadays call a plow. And the same with the other direction. It's just so easy to change for the incoming weather. The wind's blowing from this direction. You can also untie this and drop it low so the wind doesn't blow on you. You can take this side, take a stick and prop it up and create a nice shade area. You can take and flip it over the top to give you an open front. Just like that. You can sit here, have your gear here, your sleep mat, create an open front. Nice. Those are some advantages to having an independent guideline. Whereas if you had a ridge line, it'd be a little more complicated. And when the wind changes in the middle of the night, you don't want complicated. You want to be able to wake up, get out, fix it, and be right back where you need to be. This is JB. Like I said, I'll attach a different angle video showing the quick deploy, how I wind the cords here. Here we go. I'm going to show how to do the quick deploy method here. You see I've got my bow line tied onto the tarp. I've got my line coming. Just do figure eights between the thumb and the little finger until I get close to the end. Hold here. I'm going to create an X over the line and just wind up the line towards the end. Once I start getting 6 or 8 inches from the end, I'm going to run over my thumb, grab a bite, and pull through and pull it snug. You can see that gives you a quick deploy. Just pull that and it unwinds. Some of the advantages, talk a little bit while I'm taking down my tarp here. Advantages of having a lighter tarp. If you've ever carried a canvas tarp any distance at all, especially wax canvas or oilcloth, it weighs quite a bit. And so the less time carrying, if you're going any distance at all, which a lot of people don't go any distance, honestly. A lot of people go less than a mile or an hour, less than an hour in from their car, which I don't like to do. Honestly, I like to go a little further than that. I'm always like, what's over that next hill? Let me go see. And so the advantages are definitely a lighter tarp. Honestly, it's kept me just as dry. I've slept under these in all kinds of weather conditions. Storms, like I said, you could drop the ends and create a plow point. I guess people used to call it a stingray once upon a time before the whole bushcraft craze came in. You can see how I'm wrapping this. Just figure eights, kind of like a cleat on a boat. Get close to the end, take it off, wrap it in an X, and just wrap on down the line here. Work around to this way. The quick deploy is nice, especially in the winter times when the ropes freeze. The quick release, rather. Lots of black on these trees. Here in North Carolina, the cradle of forestry, the home of forestry is North Carolina. They do a lot of controlled burns, which is one reason we don't have quite as many severe forest fires as out west. Look it up. It's a fact. They believe in a more natural approach, I guess you can call it. But in nature, fires happen and they get large. Excuse the rant while I'm packing up. The whole bushcraft, the figure eight's pretty good. Good way to try fix the loop. Oh, bushcraft craze, as I call it, happened kind of while I was out in the woods, being a wilderness guide for so long. And when I got done with that, I was amazed that people want to learn what I've been doing for so long. So while everybody was getting good at making the videos, I was living out in the woods. So excuse the learning curve I've had to create. Okay, way to fold the tarp. I like to find, if I'm out in the field, especially with a wet tarp, I like to find the center. This one luckily has a loop on it. It's pretty good. I like tarps. I've got an Aqua Quest, and it's got lots of tie-out points. These snug packs also have tie-out points. And I'll just kind of flake it out. Make sure it's all the way around. And you can drop it down on the ground, but you don't have to. Here we have, in this pine forest, we have a lot of pine resin on these pine needles. It gets all over your tarp. So I'll just kind of roll it. Let me get a little closer. I learned this from packing parachutes, by the way. It's kind of the same process. I'll fold the nose down. I'll put it on my leg. Keep it folded in. And just kind of roll it up. And I'm squeezing the air out as I go. Here at the ends, they're nice and neat. Got all my cords there. I'm going to tuck those inside. And just roll it up. And it could be smaller, but with a wet tarp, it's perfect. It's fit inside the top of your pack. This is JB. Get outside and go wild.